Yeah, I mean, I'm a wildlife filmmaker, also an architect. So I do two professions and juggle around both of them. We started photography, and into 2020 we got into filmmaking. And one of our first film was Urban Langur of Mangalore. This documentary is basically about an old fisherman named Babu. He's about 80 to 90 years old now. How he, as a fisherman who also used to poach these olive ridley turtle eggs, was so we did. I think we did almost 2 hours of interview with him. I mean, I really need to appreciate that man because at his age, he's giving time for us. It's very hard to work with elderly people in the first place.
True.
Wildlife, you are not telling anyone. You have to wait. Basically, you have to wait for a long time, and they are the actors, and they'll do the animals will do the stuff.
So yeah, I mean, we just spoke about Babana Sathwik. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, it brings us to a very important point, right? I mean, how do you include local communities in conservation? And I mean, the film itself, I want people to go watch it, but film itself highlights the importance of
Yeah.
someone like a Babana in conservation. So if you could speak a little bit about the importance of local communities in wildlife conservation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very important topic because without community, you cannot really protect wildlife, and this has been told across everywhere. Majorly because, see, when we look into sort of wildlife or animals like us, or who are interested or who are sort of animal lovers, or I can say for certain things, very emotional about this. When things go wrong,
Yeah,
but you have to look into a lot of layers. There are people living in, for example, in forest, or say in this location. There are people living. So just by saying that, okay, we want to protect this landscape and you have to go away, it is not possible. And because see, they have grown there since so many generations, so they know that much better than us. They have seen
yeah,
that they have done things wrong. They have done things
right.
wrong, unaware. They've not known much, and obviously their education is, they've not studied. Most of them would have not studied. Currently, there is a lot of facilities. Baban is someone who's very old. So if he had education, probably would have not done that. And also the one more reason why he did that, I would say, is because he had problems with his income source.
Right.
For him, fishing was not enough, or he just could not get enough money from fishing or going in the boats, because there are certain instances where people won't pay you even though you do the job. So maybe that was one of the reasons, because there are so many stories of him, which we cannot include everything. Then it becomes like a very bio sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we have to. This is what I mean. This is important in community, is because when you change one person, you can also change other 100 people, and that one person will go and tell other people. But to do that starting point, it is very hard. And more than, see, I have to tell one more thing also here, is that more than just his grandson going in, there are certain rules also now. There are rules like the forest department also puts banner in those nests
Hmm.
saying that if you steal, you will get 10,000 fine. 10,000 fine is put. That itself will scare a lot of people, because obviously they are, how do you say, like, they are like in a poor sector, I would say, not very well to do people. It is a big amount. I mean, 10,000 is a big amount. It's not some joke to carry on. And back in the days, there was this market for these eggs. This
Right.
eggs used to get exported to various parts of Asia. I think it is still happening, not sure, but because of all the laws and policies, it is in place. But I think if I got this information through the community and through a lot of, I mean, reforge, probably this event would have happened around 2010 to 2015, not very long back. The
Right.
transformation,
Right.
they had to literally go to people, ask them, not to do this. A lot of things have to go on. And again, coming to community, see, there is, in this case, there is this fisherman Babana. There are other fishermen locally nearby. There's this reforge. There's this FSL team. There's the forest department. Then there are outsiders also who are volunteering.
Hmm.
Probably you would know that
Someone like me.
when
Yeah.
I've done that. Yeah, even
Yeah,
I've done that there. This becomes a community now. There is the
yeah,
local, there is the department, there is the the NGO sector, and there is outsiders who are
yeah.
interested. Now this is a big community, and
That's so nicely said, actually. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, right now there is a lot of awareness there. To be very honest, there's a lot of awareness. Obviously, because of tourism, there is disturbance. You need tourism also. We can't say you don't require tourism because if you can't go to the places, you can't just see them. That is
correct.
there. So
I think it's also be highlighted that the forest department and the NGOs also incentivize these people for locating the nest, right? I think they get a
yeah,
certain incentive
yeah,
amount in
yeah,
place of. I mean, they're now helping the forest department locate these nests instead of locating them for their own purpose, where they would, poach the
yeah.
eggs or whatever. So
Correct,
the
correct.
forest
Very true.
department and
Yeah,
NGOs are also putting their skill to
yeah.
use in locating,
Yeah,
which is I
yeah,
think
yeah. This was something very important. I missed it. Sorry.
right,
I mean, this was also the main part why we did the film because
right,
he might protect the wildlife. Yes, I mean that is a good cause. It should be done, obviously. But
right.
is he getting anything in return is very
Exactly.
important because he's
Exactly.
giving his time there.
Exactly.
Today's world is very different. It is not like how it was back.
Right.
I mean, money is, to be honest, it's very important.
It's important.
Even for
Exactly.
someone, for Baban also, it is very important. So getting, I mean, he gets like 500 rupees to 1,000 for one
Hmm.
batch of eggs. Eggs
Correct.
can be whatever the number. So some people might give more. I, as far as I've overheard this, sometimes it was the only NGO people used to give, and the
Okay.
department used not give. But I think
Okay.
they do give. So
Right.
we can't just conclude that, but
Right.
there's a lot of support happening. Because
Right.
of NGOs. See, the primary sector I want to appreciate here is the NGOs because they give the start. Because the community won't know right, what is wrong. Because not just Babana, there were many people who did this there. I mean, there were so many people. They had
Hmm.
to go to each people and change them literally.
Yeah.
So Babana's story is very unique because of his grandson. I did meet his grandson, and in the film, it is not the real grandson because we had to bring that age because he's elder now.
Huh.
He's a little shy, doesn't want to
Okay.
speak much, but I think he told a couple of times to Babana, like, don't do this. He
Right.
literally went into it. Don't do this. This is not right. Don't eat, sell or eat.
Right.
And if, to my knowledge, they used to consume it also. The eggs were
Right.
consumed back in the days.
Right.
Currently, nobody touches.
Yeah.
That's how it.
Like you said, it's important to go and speak to one person, but how do you bring that transformation in 100 other people? I think something like a Samudharadha motte will go on to be the tools to do that. How
Yeah,
do you put this story forward in creating that change? I hope Samudharadha motte is the
yeah,
means to do that.
yeah. I hope so.
Also, I really love that the film is shot or narrated in Kannada. Regional content is becoming more and more important to connect with the same local community we just spoke about. So, tell us how
Yeah.
important it is to tell stories in local languages, especially in a country like India.
So when we do documentary specifically, we need to. There is this sort of idea or technicality that you should know your audience. This is
Right.
something that's taught by a lot of seniors. It is important to know, but you can't be restricted to each audience. Okay, but why I or Dhyan or me as both wanted to keep it in a local regional is we want to keep it raw. I call this raw because the moment you bring in a narrator just for the translation of English, you lose that momentum. You lose the momentum of the real stuff happening. What is a film? Basically, it is trying to show what has happened or what is happening. Documentary is something that is happening currently. So if you bring in something that is foreign, basically, you obviously you can't feel it more
Yeah.
than you understand. You can't feel that, and
Yeah.
obviously there are we our goal also is, and we have done few places where we have gone to schools and local schools, like very local, and shown them this film because they connect a lot.
Yeah.
And the main people or the targeters here is the coastline people, because they are the ones who's living next to it. Because in Mangalore, there is not much of awareness about this. So this is one of the ways we want to again do go to schools because this is where Kannada language becomes very important, specifically government schools where their
Yeah.
medium is Kannada. And it's not just Kundapur Kannada. There is a mix of normal Kannada also, because Dinesh
So
is
that,
someone,
I mean, it also
a little
helps
bit
reach
of,
a wider audience. I mean, you can
yeah,
tap
yeah,
everybody in Kannada, in Karnataka by,
yeah.
like, yeah,
And you can just do subtitles in English, and that's the simplest way you can do it.
yeah, yeah,
And I mean, nowadays it's like, I will not say a trend, but it's there in the documentary field to keep it very natural, keep it in the real language
yeah,
rather than
exactly.
changing the whole. There are certain places where people mix, there is this real voice happening, also there's an English voice, so trying to explain the whole thing in one sentence, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff here. And it's very
You,
important, as you said. I mean,
yeah,
it's very important
you
to
can
show
make the
local
film
language.
in, say, in English. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but I mean, it can go to some of these film festivals in the US or in Europe or
Yeah,
something. But
yeah.
if it's not going to create
But
any impact in the place where it's been shot, then you'll wonder what the
yeah,
purpose is eventually.
but even they appreciate, such local stuff. They also are
Okay,
not looking for English. They just
right,
want to understand it. Okay,
right,
because
right,
I've seen across a lot of documentaries. They keep it natural. That's how a documentary is. Documentary is like we're documenting real happening stuff, right?
right, right,
Certain things can be from the past, certain things are present. So
right.
that's why it's called non-fiction.
Yeah,
It's not like how cinema is
yeah.
completely different.
Very interesting. Right. And did you have any interesting experiences? Do you have any anecdotes from shooting? Any good experiences, bad experiences, anything exciting?
Good experience was, first of all, waiting and getting to see the turtle hatchling was one
Yeah,
of the first important. We had to wait
yeah,
for a lot of days. We could
yeah.
not get the shots. I mean,
Right,
they were saying it will come, and sometime when it came, there is already 5 o'clock in the morning. You
right,
can't connect to the story, and this is
right,
very important. Sometimes you want to shoot, but it does not go into a film, then you
mm,
can't do anything in that shot. So this
right.
is where planning is very important, because we have done the wrong way initially.
Mm-hmm.
It was whenever we did our initial film, we used to not plan, go out, shoot, and then come back and edit. You have 100 shots, what will you do?
Right.
So this is the tricky part, but that's how you learn through experience. The bad stuff, I don't have a bad stuff, but just that you have to be a little bit careful with local people.
Right.
Meaning, we had one experience in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock. We
Okay.
were just taking stuff from the car, and some guy from the rickshaw who was drunk, I probably, he came and he's like, "Hey, ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರೋ?" something he told in
Mm-hmm.
slang, and
Mm.
he sounded rude.
Okay.
So we just kept our calm. I mean, we don't know a lot of people there. We are also new.
Right.
We know
Right.
only a few of them. Nobody was
Right.
near us. Only me and Dhyan. So
Okay.
these are the things you have to be a little bit careful when you sort of do
Yeah.
it. And I don't think so I have any bad experience. It's
That's
just the
nice
good
then.
stuff.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
And I also want to add to this that Babana's wife was very supportive, because
Okay.
uh, we wanted to be honest, we wanted to get more of the emotional sectors of their family, but the family didn't sound to be very connected back in the initial stage.
Okay.
Later on, they realized the importance. And to add on to this, so once we did the film, we got certain awards and stuff. We had a screening in Finland that
Oh,
happened in the festival itself, and one more
okay.
screening in Dada Saheb in
Mm,
Delhi.
right. Right.
But I could only attend the next, that is Delhi's. It was in the India Habitat Center. It's a very interesting building, and that festival was hosted by Eco Reels. I don't
Okay.
know if a lot of them know. It's a very nice curated festival. They do a lot of related to wildlife, human rights stuff.
Mm,
So there were 4 films selected, and that was my first experience to go out and see my film in a screening area. I had
yeah.
my also the crew member along with me, and obviously we had to go and speak. So
Yeah.
it was very interesting how, even though it is, as now I'm getting back to the old topic, is that even though it was Kannada, there maybe most of them are Hindi there, Delhi at
Correct.
least, they still could relate it, though they didn't understand the language completely.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
visuals are very important. You need to be very strict with the visuals. You can't simply say something and you can't show. You have to relate to what you say and what you show, and that is when the film really clicks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very important. And yeah, from
Yes.
there, I think. We screened in many schools, institutions. That also was
Okay.
very, I mean, very good experience for me because I did screening in one of my old school, and also it was that department was media. I mean, film and media.
Okay.
A lot of questions about the technicality. That was very interesting for me because I mean I could relate what they're trying to do
Ask
because
and
back in the days
yeah.
when I had those questions.
Yeah.
So I mean that nice, and we did sort of in-house premiere in a theater.
Right.
That was sort of funded by ourselves, and we
Oh,
brought
okay.
in Babanna.
Okay.
He was very happy. That was
So nice.
that was the whole idea. We wanted to bring all the people, gather them in the theater, like bring them into the few people who had joined there.
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
like 100 people as
Yeah.
audience. So Babanna spoke. He had dressed up very well. To be honest, he dressed up in his old, I mean,
I
very
saw a couple of
traditional sort
pictures.
of,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that was very interesting. And he was
Yeah.
very happy and got more belief in us because till then nobody saw what was there. They're like, what these people are doing? They're shooting since long time. They're not even putting it out. So people had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So, but again, coming to the communities thing, before all this, we did get an opportunity to screen at Kodi. If I
Okay.
don't know if you know the place, there's this Bhajana Mandir there.
Okay.
There's a orange temple there where Refwatch helped this. Venkatesh
Okay.
Pai really helped me in this, and they put up projectors. We brought in only the local people, the
Mm.
panchayat, the fishermen. So that was the first screening. They could not
Okay.
really see it properly because it's all night shots, there was sunlight hitting on it.
Mm. Mm.
But
Mm.
still, they could relate and they were happy about that.
So nice.
And it's very important to show to them. You can't just go and show screening to the international sector. It's important to go and show to them. I
Correct.
think that is the first thing as a filmmaker you have to do.
They're the first stakeholders of that
Yeah,
whole.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
I get
their
it.
story in the end.
Yeah, it's their story, exactly.
Yeah,
And I wanted to ask you if you have any advice for budding filmmakers. Somebody wants to go out and make a documentary. How do they start? How do they get started? I mean, from your experience, I understood that you just need to go out and like figure out and just go do it because most
yeah,
people don't do that. But any advice you
yeah.
have for budding filmmakers, wildlife
Uh,
documentary?
I am also somewhat like a budding filmmaker. I can't really say I'm a very experienced.
No.
Obviously, I have now 5 to 6 years experience. We were a team of 4, 5 initially. I had two of them. One was Dhyan, and one more guy. They went to the UK to study wildlife and documentary, masters in wildlife and
Oh, okay.
documentary.
Okay.
So that is one of the ways where you learn. But I personally would recommend is that you just need to just start. Okay. So start meaning not like random. You should obviously be interested in wildlife. If you're doing wildlife, and we are talking about wildlife filmmaking, it's not necessary that you need to know everything in the initial stage. You have to just start. Start through photography, because photography is the basis. It's the base level. That teaches you what is filmmaking. Filmmaking is a little advanced, or videography is a little advanced. You can relate to it. So this is how I've started. Or we have, I mean, my team and my colleagues have started. I never had a mentor as such. At least till I never had a mentor, to be honest. Some of my other colleagues had mentor because I had one mentor whom I did internship with, but he's not a wildlife; he's a documentary filmmaker. But I think the learning is majorly when you do it on your own. So when we say when you do it on your own, it is like you know you go out, just shoot, but also you go back and you sort of go through YouTube, understand what are the technical stuff. YouTube is like an open university, I would say, because that is the place where you can learn today anything. You don't need someone to teach, but if you have someone who's into all this, definitely go join them. Because again, if any there are other things I want to add here is that, see, one, you can produce documentaries on your own. One, you can raise funds, apply to certain film festivals or fundraisers. You work with someone. One more thing is there are two sectors again in the wildlife. There is broadcast and there's conservation. So broadcast is completely TV oriented, where National Geographic, BBC, So where the good stuff happens, the natural history, and how
Yeah.
they showed the very high tech stuff. So it's a tough game, but that is majorly dealt in UK, and the studios are there. My friends have been there. I mean, they've studied there. So one reality I want to tell you is that it's really tough to get a job there. Though you have a degree, it's really tough to get a job. One of them did get a job, but again, it's all. I mean, most of would have know this that UK is a contract basis. The
Okay.
jobs are contract basis in UK,
Right.
so you are not really assured what will happen.
It's
But
not a
if
stable
you
sort of
really,
source of.
yeah,
Right.
source of income.
Okay.
But if you're really sure you can do, I mean, not just sure. If you really want to put it up, it is a good source. I mean,
Okay.
it's good to go and do a course, but I would really insist anybody who's looking out there to do. It's good to just start just from your backyard. You don't need fancy stories. You don't need elephants. You don't need tigers. You have so many stories right behind your garden. You can do it on insects, or just small amphibians or something like that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have there's a lot of stories on the big five, or I would say the elephant, tigers, and stuff. Fair
Yeah.
space. There's very little stories on birds also. To be honest,
True.
very little stories on birds. So there's a lot of things, and India is blessed. You don't have to go out and be somewhere. India is very blessed to have so many stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously, we have our problems happening, but that problem itself is a
The
good
story.
story for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it will take time to get the technical part, but the motto is keep doing every day, and I think that is it.
Yeah.
Probably if you're dealing with two stuff like how I am doing and how
Yeah.
you're doing it, you
Yeah.
have to maintain it, manage it somehow. Obviously,
Yeah.
it is going to be tough, but if
Yeah.
you want to do it, you have to do it.
Exactly.
This is how it is. Yeah.
No, I think
And
that's
yeah, I
great
mean
advice. Yeah.
yeah, and one more thing, the most important part which I have learned across the years is building the story is something you have to really, it takes time, but building the sort of flow of the story is very important. So whatever
Right.
camera you use, if your story is not in place, you have a 4K, 8K camera, and you don't have a proper storyline. There's no point in showing the film. It does not connect.
Right.
And also the other part, not just camera, I mean, more than the edit, the sound, more than the music, the sound, I mean, the sound meaning the SFX, we call it sound
Right.
effects.
Right.
Getting the natural sounds, it's very important. I mean, that is how we require. We don't need fancy musics, that happens in the reels. For documentaries it needs to be soothing, and
Authentic. Yeah.
wherever it's required, that is how
Yeah.
it works.
Interesting. Very, that's great advice for
Yeah.
somebody who's trying to get, I mean, because you always have the question of how, if, especially in a field like wildlife filmmaking in general, I guess, how do you, because usually somebody's doing something else on the side, like yourself, right? You're
Hmm.
managing two professions, if I may say so. And so, how do you
Yeah.
get into it? How do you connect with the right people? How do you, I mean, get the right mentorship?
Hmm.
So, yeah, I
Hmm.
guess
So
the first step
yeah,
is
I mean,
always to get into it.
yeah,
Yeah.
one more way you can get into is you can work with the local forest department or
Okay.
the NGOs. So that
Right.
is the first step that gives you. NGOs are a
And
good
if you could like
option.
elaborate on that, how open are they and welcoming are they to something like this? Do you just walk
Uh,
up there and propose something to them, or
they are not very welcoming, especially the
yeah,
forest department. It depends
right,
on officers. I would be
right.
very straightforward with this. It depends
Yeah,
on the officer,
yeah,
and you will have to go through that process of going out, reaching out to people. This
right,
is the most important part in filmmaking, reaching out to people. I mean, even I struggled in that. It is really hard, but you have to sort of go out, speak to people, tell that you're doing this, show them what
yeah,
you have done. If you
yeah,
don't have anything, try to do something. Always suggest anybody who's looking to do this, don't see money in the first few years, because
yeah.
you need to get the experience.
Because
Money
there
will
is no
come
money
when
also.
there is no money, to be honest,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it will somehow flow later on.
yeah,
But I get it. I mean, equipments are expensive, but if there
yeah,
is an opportunity, learn it through someone. Go out. There are so many. I mean, there are courses, but practical experience is best. So
mm,
you can either see, there are, if you want to get into wildlife specifically, there is this Fellis creation. They're a big industry.
Yeah.
In India, they're the number one people. I know few of
Right.
them. You can get into them. Once you get into them, you'll really learn what is natural. I mean, what is how to get into broadcasting more
Yeah.
than consumption. If you're interested in broadcasting, that is a good way.
Yeah.
That is how you should get along with people who are doing the job. So that is much easier way rather than you learning, because what I've done is a little hard way, because there's no mentor. You might learn the wrong stuff. It will take some time. Again, if you're sort of very interested, you can keep doing this. But yeah, I mean, you need to learn the craft will take some time. Don't worry much about the source of income initially. That is very tough to get. I mean, I'll be very honest here. Wildlife is, it's very tough to get for anybody who have like so much years of experience. Also, they struggle
Correct.
depending on what's happening elsewhere.
Right.
There is a lot of stuff, because I can't really tell much because I'm not got into broadcasting and stuff. So that's a
Okay.
completely different game. It's very different. Conservation is, I mean, you can work. There is, if you have some sort of idea or portfolio with you, it is okay. It is very important to have a portfolio or a show reel. This
Right.
is ahead, like not beginner stuff. It's a little intermediate. The show reel will tell, like, okay, you know how to take, what are the shots you have taken. It will sort of give you like a trailer of what you have done till now.
Right.
You do a
Right.
trailer of what you've done, and you can approach. See, if you want just like funds, or you want to work with, you have a story and you want to work with someone, so some production company or a producer, they will also pay you, and they will sort of publish in one. It is,
Right.
I would suggest Round Glass Sustain. They are a good place. They
Right.
do give up to some amount, which is a good amount. Initially, it is a very good amount. You
It's
can
like a
reach out to
grant, is
them.
it?
Yeah, it's like a grant, but you'll be
Okay.
working with them. They'll
Right.
be publishing it. So they're the
And
right
mentorship
holders of
also
that.
comes with it,
Yeah,
I'm
everything
guessing.
comes in there.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
if you are only the cameraman, or the only storyteller, you can. They might give you a cameraman.
Right.
If you don't know to shoot, but you have a
Right.
story.
Right.
So filmmaking, there's a lot of sectors. There's a
Right.
division of lot of sectors. But initially, everybody does everything. This is how
Right.
it works.
Right.
You have to do all the stuff. You should know
Right.
everything. I mean, it's important to know everything. Then there are many other, such kind of people who are, and now, I mean, now it's a good time to speak about this. I recently went to Green Stories. This is
Right.
like a pitching deck where I
Okay.
got selected as an observer. So
Okay.
what I had to do is basically observe how they pitch their stories.
Okay.
So it is like a week round stuff where 4 days they get mentored each way, like not just how you shape the story, but how you speak, how you
Okay.
pitch to people. But
Okay.
you need to have, you need to have a story. It is not like you go without anything. You need to have a
Right.
story, and
Right.
obviously you have to apply before in hand. You have to get selected among so many people. I mean, if your story is like that good, you will go ahead. Then they will curate you. They will sort of tweak your stories. They will help you, and the people who come there are really, really, experienced and industry people who have worked with National Geographic, BBC, and all these PBS, all this stuff.
Okay.
There are, and obviously there are not just foreigners. There are Indian filmmakers, and this is majorly done by Gautam Pandey, who's a very renowned filmmaker. If you have heard about Riverbank Studios, it's them, and there is Rita, who's the Green Hub. They are also, Green Hub is one more, which is they have fellowships for Northeast India,
Okay.
Northeast people. So
Okay.
this is like collaborating with another. It's called Dusty Food Productions by Imran Khan.
Right.
So all these people have got together and done this. So it's a good place. You can join. You can definitely apply as an observer, but
Okay.
you need to have some sort of background. You can't
Right.
just go. I mean, it's
So
very,
as in a
it's little tough to get.
right.
This was the second year they did, and I got to see how, the final pitching day, the where the investors, funders come in from all the way from different parts of the world, and how you pitch in that one session. You get like 7 minutes to talk and 7 minutes to show your film, and that's all.
Okay.
You don't have a lot of time. So it's a little
Okay.
tricky, but that's the best way to get into the thing.
But it's a very
And
great initiative, right? Because Usually, like
I
wildlife
mean,
filmmakers just know their art and craft, right? But going and pitching, like you said, is probably the most important part of the process,
yeah,
and that's something
yeah,
very interesting.
it's
I didn't know something like that existed. That's a great
yeah.
initiative.
I mean, they start. This is the second year, and this is the first time that's happening in India. I mean, related to wildlife, there are
Right,
other stuffs like pitch dog that's happening in Kolkata. That's more into documentaries. This is
right,
core wildlife and environmental nature.
right,
This time there were a lot of stories related to environment and human. Now that's what I'm like. Now the transition is going towards people and nature.
right.
What's happening with the human and nature. This is the sort of core. Sort of I would call it like a trend of for a certain time. This is what it's going to be,
Okay,
and I mean it's a beautiful place. If you have to, if you get a chance, please. And
nice.
there's one more thing: you can just volunteer there. You don't have to be an observer or a
Okay,
filmmaker. You can just volunteer there, and that will also give you insight, and it will connect you to so many people. Networking is the most important part in filmmaking or in
yeah,
wildlife. Networking is important. So yeah, volunteering is a good place to learn.
that's very insightful. I myself wasn't aware of something like that.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. So the big question, Satvik, when and where can we watch Samudra the Motte? I mean, I was lucky
Uh,
enough to you were kind enough to let me watch this film. But what
yeah.
about the viewers? What about the people? When can they watch it? Where can they watch it?
So we are currently deciding on that factor. I'm not able to sort of tell it out right now, but
Okay,
we are going to release it soon. Is what one of our idea is to release it on
okay,
our own channel.
okay,
Also, at the same time, we are looking at a distributor who is already established, who could put
okay,
this up somewhere and it's available for people. We are currently on a little bit of small tweaks happening in the film. So we are on that stage.
okay,
After that, because before the final release, we want to clear everything and everything has to be complete. But definitely, we are going to release it this year itself. I mean, the
okay,
coming year,
okay.
2026.
Right.
Probably within 3-4 months. Within three four
Okay,
months, it's easily going to be available. And one more thing, someone is really interested to watch it. You can DM me. I will
okay,
send you the private link, and you have that opportunity to watch it beforehand. Sort of,
okay.
how do you call this?
You guys
Like
heard it.
advance. Yeah,
Yeah. You can DM him. I'll have his Instagram plugged in the video, and you
yeah,
can, if you're interested, DM him and he'll send you a link. But no, we're
yeah,
excited and waiting to watch the film, probably on a big screen, hopefully soon, maybe on YouTube,
yeah,
whatever works out best. But all the best to you, Satvik. Thank you so much for
yeah.
joining us today. Any closing thoughts? Anything you'd
Yeah,
like to share with our viewers?
Thank you, first of all, Amog. I mean, it's the first time I'm doing something like this, and it's a great opportunity. And you're hosting and bringing in people who are related to wildlife and sort of stuff. And it's very important to sort of show what is the reality. I mean,
Yeah,
people understand because a lot of people would not know how to get into filmmaking or how filmmaking is done. So when we share thoughts, it's important for the viewers to also understand. I
yeah.
think this is a great initiative by Amal. I mean, thanks to you for having me also here. And
No, thank you for
thank you.
joining. Yeah, thank you for joining. And I'm sure our viewers got a lot of insight from our conversation. Thank you again. Love to connect again soon.